Does everybody know what time it is?
Uptime!
That's right. Fleetpride is proud to present Jason the Fleetman Morgan.
Hey everyone, I am Jason the Fleetman Morgan, and welcome to Uptime, the show where we talk about truck service needs and the aftermarket possibilities that get trucks through the service process faster, more productive, more efficient. Today, we are talking bulk parts ordering, right? Wild topic if you think about where we've come from here in the past couple of years. We've had some parts challenges, some shortage, supply chain, and now we're talking about bulk orders because it's a way to kind of combat some of that availability risk if you know which components you're going to need throughout the year, right? So we're going to connect with Mike Keller, Vice President of Category Management at Fleetpride, who's going to walk us through how to calculate what you need, how to work with a partner to get the parts lined up for your time period that you think you want to buy in bulk, and just kind of what the strategy is, how technology plays a role in that, what the relationship means. So here we go. Mike Keller, Vice President of Category Management, Fleetpride. Hey, Mike, thanks for taking the time. Glad to connect with you here and talk with you about parts strategy, right? From a fleet perspective, parts have been a huge topic here in the past couple of years. We've certainly seen some supply chain challenges as we've tried to get parts in. Parts are flowing a little more freely now. But one of the things that I did want to talk to you about is bulk ordering. You know, those bulk parts that are always in demand, your brake drums, pads if you have them, tires, that kind of thing. What advice do you have in determining which parts and the quantity of those that should be ordered in bulk?
You know, I think oftentimes when you look at what any type of unique business goes through frequently, it gives you an opportunity for bulk ordering, you know, especially for routine maintenance. When we look at items such as brakes and oil changes, you know, batteries, those are all types of items that typically a larger fleet especially goes through quite a bit of. And so those are opportunities to make sure that you're not running to the parts store every 15 minutes to pick something up. Rather, bring it in bulk, have it available, and just keep your repair flowing.
Right. Well, and it can help mitigate a little bit of risk, right? You name a couple of things there. Oil, one is spring to mind, because I know oil filters can be a little hard to come by right now, right? So if you order that in bulk, you're in good shape, and if not, you're kind of in the hunt. But, you know, real quick, I want to back up, because if I'm ordering in bulk, right, if let's say I'm a fleet that's doing my own service, or I'm a shop that's contracted with fleets, what's important to consider in terms of storage costs, right? These parts have to go somewhere. If I'm on a 12-month, 6-month kind of buy cycle, what should I know about storing that hardware?
You know, I would say, again, from the customer perspective, you really want just the right amount at all times, whether that's bulk or not. But understanding, you know, what your usage volume is going to be will really matter, so that you're not overwhelmed with excess inventories piling up or causing an unsafe environment because you've got stuff down aisles, and makes it difficult for an employee to walk or move a forklift, whatever that may be. And keep in mind that, you know, one way that we support the customer is by, you know, warehousing the product ourselves. So we want to work closely with those types of fleets and large customers that do require bulk purchasing for really just-in-time inventory, the best that we can and the best that they can. As a partner, it's important that we make sure that we've got plenty of brakes on hand to justify your fleet's needs. And therefore, if you have the right amount that you need when you need it, and we're aware of what your future needs are, we can help make sure that we've got it for the next time you pick up the phone to place that order, or go to fleetpride.com and place an order.
Right. Well, let's talk about that, the right amount, right? Understanding volumes. When you're working with fleet customers, do they have a pretty good sense of how many, you know, brake drums or filters they might need, or what kind of guidance do you provide them in terms of volumes that they should expect?
I would say typically, you know, the fleets know what their routine maintenance is. And when you look at safety items such as brakes or oil changes, you know, they're tracking the mileage, they're tracking usage, and more or less they know about what they'll need, you know, in my experience. And the more that they can share that information with our national accounts team and regional accounts team, you know, the more prepared that we can be to help forecast those orders and make sure we've got the right inventory on hand.
I see. So they know their needs. You're looking at the market and the supply base and kind of judging what they're going to be able to get. How does that work too? Let's say I'm buying in bulk. I want to take care of my brake components for the year, but I like maintaining a diverse supplier base, right? I like being able to kind of pick and choose what might fits the needs for the application or the truck. How do you do that in a bulk scenario?
Well, more often than not, what we want to do is ensure that the customer's getting what they want. And because of that, we have various suppliers that provide product to us. And so as a fleet or any customer may require certain brands, we have those available. We also have exclusive brands for the more cost-conscious customer, especially second or third owners. But when you look at bulk purchases, again, we typically have more than one avenue to procure parts, especially on national brands. Because customers have a choice. There's certain brands that they like and that they know, and we want to make sure we have those available.
Right. So then in a bulk order situation, I can break that up by brand, or if there's one brand that's able to fill a little bit more than what I need, am I able to do that, or is it kind of based on the product and brand and that kind of thing?
I would say whatever the customer needs is what we'll deliver. Okay. And so if they're doing some sort of bulk buy, there's no reason they can't mix and match various types of products.
Okay.
For those orders.
Very cool. One thing that we talk a lot about here on Uptime is the digital impact that's being had in the marketplace right now. I know Fleetpride's really on the front edge of that in the aftermarket. From your seat, how does technology impact parts availability information versus parts bulk strategies, and how does that all come together and inform those buys?
I think technology is a great thing, especially when you're able to utilize it in appropriate ways. So one thing I mentioned was not so much from an ordering perspective, but technology from a tracking perspective. So any type of forecasting and understanding what are the future needs the best that you can helps us plan accordingly. Likewise, we share those forecasts with our suppliers so that they are prepared that when we have bulk sale opportunities, everyone knows what's coming down the path. As far as future technologies such as Fleetpride.com, there's a lot of great things that I think the future holds for Fleetpride.com as well as other technologies. One, understanding where the parts are, understanding what those unit volumes are, how many are available. But really, from a digital catalog perspective, it can make people's work faster, whether it's cross-referencing or identifying the part, understanding what the image is, by looking at it, is this the correct thing or not? And it really is a quick way to understand without having to pick up the phone and sit on hold what's available, what's it look like, and is this the right part that I need?
For sure. You mentioned the phone, right? And I want to go back to this because I know technology is driving a lot of the ease of attaining a part and getting, to your point, the right part, right? Because that's a challenge at times too. We've talked about that. But when it comes to bulk purchasing, where does the relationship work into this? How does that work with customers, and how do they feel comfortable placing that kind of order and knowing that it's going to be fulfilled? What's that process like?
Yeah, specifically for the relationship. In many cases, people still buy from people, and relationships matter. I say that quite a bit. And so even with Fleetpride.com and purchasing online, we still service the customer at the end of the day, and that's what our job is to do. Ensure the customer has what they need and we're meeting their expectations. And that comes from the relationships, and it comes from helping them plan. And so just because there's an opportunity to buy something online, doesn't mean that we're still not going to make those sales calls or have strategic sessions with those customers to make sure that we're helping them have the right part, so that we're helping with a solution based on a need that fleet may have or that customer may have.
Yeah, and that's a great point too, the strategic meetings, especially now we're getting ready to go into a new year, right? When do those typically take place? Is it on this annual basis? Is it based on maybe my fleet's quarter by quarter kind of strategy? How do you have those conversations and get those rolling?
Specifically, especially with our group, we have meetings all the time, but they're very strategic in nature, right? It's no meeting just to have meeting. From a fleet perspective, our national and regional accounts, those teams are always meeting with those customers, right? That's inherently what they do. It's their job and responsibility. And from time to time, we'll bring other members here at the office into those discussions as well, especially if it's more specific towards the types of brands or product offering that we have. And then to support the fleets, specifically what my team does is we have strategic sessions with the manufacturers and suppliers to understand, are we doing the right things Do we have the right or the newest parts on the shelf? Are we sure we have the appropriate assortment strategy? And are we providing accurate forecasting?
From the fleet customer point of view, I know you've mentioned it before of having a good idea of what your need for that part when it comes to bulk purchasing, what that need's going to be here in the coming, whatever the time period is, 6 months, 12 months, whatever the time period is. Is there anything else that you'd like to see customers know or bring to the table or even maybe communicate with you throughout that contract length in order to help you help them get the part they need?
I think one thing that's important, and this goes back to the relationships, isn't necessarily just the forecasting, but it's understanding, what we think is going to happen in the market. And so the more information that we have and the more conversations we have from a relationship and a strategic perspective, the more we can try to understand what we think is going to what we think that need will be in the future, right? So if there's a shift in demand, if there's a shift in market, whether it's a downturn or an upturn, how do we make sure that we're staying close from a relationship perspective, talking about strategy, understanding market dynamics, and be able to then fulfill those bulk needs or one part needs?
Right, or even from the fleet perspective, my truck life cycles, right? I know those have gotten quite longer here in the past couple of years, right? I know that fleets are trying to shorten those up. Trucks are rolling off the line a little bit more. But to your point, that might be a component type need. I might need a little less engine component need if I have newer trucks coming into the fleet. But on the flip side, oil changes still happen. Brakes still happens, right, at that pace. So being able to talk about that, have those meetings, and just kind of stay in touch, right? Yes, I can go online and manage my order that way, which is a great time saver. But I still want to know who I'm working with and still have that relationship.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's correct.
Mike, well, thank you for taking the time to communicate here and have this strategic meeting. I've learned a lot about bulk buying and the opportunities there. I'm sure we'll talk to you again very soon.
I appreciate your time and thanks for having me.
So there we go. Great conversation with Mike. Really great insight. It's worth taking a look at the past year. Where were your parts pain points? Where did availability really create a sore spot, right? And bulk ordering can help you smooth those over. Clearly, you got to find the right partner. You got to find someone who has your interests in mind, can talk to you about strategy. Worth looking into. Hey, I appreciate you looking into Uptime, spending some time here with me. And until next time, you know what time it is.
Uptime!